Hi, and welcome back. We're once again, you're joining us here in our home. And if you've gotten to this part in the book, you'll notice that this section, each chapter has this section, which is things we wish we had known, right? Things that it would have
Yes.
been really nice to have known a
Just
little
like
sooner.
I think they wish they would know what happens right before you hit record because it's quite entertaining
Right before I hit record. Oh, you
on
mean,
our
yeah.
broadcasts. They're quite funny. So I think we need to do a whole segment on outtakes if you would let me.
Anyways, Um, so part of what we wish we had known before, it's every chapter there's something different. Some of it is maybe a book we had read that gave us great insights. Some of it is what we're going to talk about today, which happens to be some of our natal astrology. Some of it are exercises we have done. But either way, any of them, all of them, we hope you might find a nugget of interest for you and your partner. And for today, what we're focusing in on is our astrological moon
Oh
signs.
yeah, my favorite.
So here's the thing. Oftentimes, there's one person in the relationship who has more interest in something like astrological moon signs than the other person. And hopefully, you have a partner who's just open to hearing about it, to having a conversation, to just entertaining that this might be something you as a couple could learn about, right? And I like to think of it, we have lots of tools in our belt. There's not one singular thing that made our 30-year relationship like what it is. It's been all sorts of different things over the years
And the willingness to try all sorts of different things over the years.
and being open
Find
to
what's a
it.
good fit.
Right. And if it's not a good fit for both of us or either of us, then that's okay too. Or maybe one of us deep dives into it and the other one never really cares. That's fine also. But for us, what we have found, that I do most of the initial search, if you will. I do the searching mission. I go out, I explore the things. I do a lot of the.
Very appreciative of that. And I am the one that goes, sounds good, honey.
You
That's
do.
my role. I learned that very early in our marriage. That phrase works out very, very well.
I like it
Sounds
too.
good, honey.
I
Let's
like it
give it a
too.
shot.
I like there to be the actual like meat on that behind it, not just a platitude or a placating of just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it to be like, it sounds good, honey, because you're actually interested in what that might could do for us and our relationship. And astrology happens to be one of the things that I have explored deeply and have shared with you and you've been open to.
Yes.
And I think most people, when they start a relationship, one of the first things they ask each other, whether they're joking, whether they're just trying to be funny or not, is what's your sign? And while our moon signs are, what's your moon sign, Red? I mean, sorry, our sun sign. When you ask that question, you're basically answering, when you give the answer, you're giving the answer what your sun sign is.
And for the other dudes and dudettes out there like me who are like, yeah, there's only one sign. You're born, they made it very easy. I'm an Aquarius. I was born in January 23rd. I'm an Aquarius, and then the rest of the signs, you're Pisces. I didn't know there was a whole nother group of signs out there. Yeah. But there's other ones even more important than when you were born signs that we
Well,
will
it's
get to.
important. It's
More
just,
telling,
it gives more
more in
information. I think,
tune,
especially in
more
relationship, that gives a lot of.
trying to keep it simple for the folks like me.
Okay, go ahead.
I just
Explain it,
did.
how you understand it. I'm sorry, I'm overriding you.
No, you're not overriding me. This is your area of expertise. I'm merely commenting and trying to keep it at the Tim the Tool Time level.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. And so, yes, you are an Aquarius sun, and that was a very Aquarius sun answer. Oh, by the way, and I'm a Pisces sun, which me deciding to dive into astrology and whatnot, that's part of what I find interesting. But one of the things that when I started to learn more and I started to explore natal charts, and again, your natal chart is a snapshot of where all the planets were the moment you were born. So where each of the planets, where they were, that's whenever you hear someone talk about a natal chart, that's what that means. And so where the moon was the moment you were born is your natal moon. And Reggie, do you remember what's your natal moon?
Mm, I think I'm a Gemini.
You remember what's mine?
Oh no, I forgot that one.
I'm a Libra moon.
That's right, a Libra moon. Because you leap in. Libra. Libra. Yep, I got it. I missed my mnemonic there for a minute.
How is a Libra moon leaping in? How does that connect together?
Moving on.
Okay. So what is interesting though about our moon sign is kind of our interior space. It's our innermost self. It's the part that honestly our partner would see probably more than anybody else in our lifetimes. If you're in a long relationship or a lasting relationship, your partner is actually the person who's going to experience your innermost self or kind of see that interior world, your deeper emotional self, the part that you don't shine out to the rest of the world like your sunshine, your sun sign. Your son?
I am sunshine.
Yes, you are. So it was really, really interesting when we started to learn this about each other because it started to make so much sense. So just to give a little context, a Gemini moon is, do you want to talk about what
Well,
you recall?
before you go into what they kind of are, I was just going
Okay.
to say the one thing that, because I'm a very, I don't want to go black and white, but just kind of straightforward. Does this make sense? Does it sound right? I'm a big common sense kind of person. If it passes the common sense test, I tend to go, yeah, it's good. That works for me. Um, when we started doing a bunch of the signs and how it all works, and it was always very interesting to me. And it goes the same thing with like your what's the other one?
Human design?
Your human design and everything else. They make sense when you hear, oh, okay, you're a Gemini, and you go, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, the good and the other both resonated with me as, oh yeah, that does sound like me. So okay, I can give that a little love. And then it's like, oh, you're as an Aquarius, part of my Aquarius, the world revolve,
What is it? Go
they,
ahead.
no,
You're
they
there.
they say people talk about all the time. You think the world revolves around you, right? And I was like, that's not true. But when I hear that an Aquarius thinks they revolve the world, I'm like, yes, that's me. So it it tended to make me more
Inclined
accepting and
to
more like, oh
listen
yeah,
and
this
open.
works because it's
When
like
I would
it
tell things
resonates.
about you that you
Yes,
were like, oh, look at that. Isn't that interesting?
it is.
Yeah. And so when you learned about
You're welcome.
your Gemini moon, what did do you remember like what you felt like connected, like how you connected with when I would share with
Well,
you?
the Gemini moon, if I remember right, is more like you like to engage and be the light of the room or whatever, kind of like the energy that the energy just comes. Now, I don't, that's not something I try to do. It's just something that happens.
I think you're also talking about your generator and your human design self being the light of the room.
They
They
all
all
ping
kind of,
on each
they
other.
do. But for the Gemini, it's also that quick wit, right?
Yeah,
And it's
just
that
just like they're
constant
experiencing now.
mind, constant going,
In the
right?
games and that,
In
I'm
the
very
games,
competitive and I like to keep my mind active and going, and that's kind of in line
and
with
it's
it.
about
And I got it,
communicating.
like you're a big communicator and that's part of yours. And where we sometimes get on interesting paths is where she tells me and I was like within 2 seconds I got it, but then she wants to keep telling me for another 30, 40 seconds. So that's when I start playing a game or something because I had it at the 2 second point.
It is. It's quick wit. It is
See that
highly
quick wit?
energetic. It's mercurial. It is ready to just like constantly boom, boom, boom. And your
I'm
mind is
basically a little
always
boy.
working. Kind of.
I'm
It's
18.
more that teenage self. Remember we
Oh
talked
yeah.
about that teenage energy of the Gemini energy. But you also have a really good way of seeing like both sides of things. Geminis
Yes.
can see and are adept at quote unquote arguing or presenting both sides of any argument.
Having a discussion.
Yes. Well, you do. You love lively
I
discussions.
do.
I do not. That does not do for
No.
me what I like having discussions. I don't love lively. I like in-depth emotional feeling
Yes, yes, yes,
discussions.
yes, yes.
But
Just
you
like that,
lively like
the in-depth emotional where we're actually not going to solve anything with this.
we're talking emotions. It's not about solving.
Yes, everything's about solving. I'm a math person.
You're a Gemini moon. This is
Exactly.
also part of a mathematical. There has to be
Give me
A
a
plus B
formula.
equals C.
Give me a formula.
And I'm
Let's get
like,
this thing worked out.
no, let's see how we feel and let's like explore this and let's talk through it some more. But that's also another thing in our charts, which are, we're not going to stray into that. But speaking into our interior self, what's interesting also is when you learn more about your moon sign, when you take time to learn about it, satisfy it, do the things that make it happy, then so much, like it's kind of like it's self-soothing, right? And it is that emotional regulated space or regulated space. So for you playing games on your phone, it used to be whenever he played chess in person or like little by little, right? It keeps now it's on his smartphone all the time. The different games you play, that is part of your emotional regulation. That is literally how you wind down, how you chill out, because your mind always needs to be going. And so you literally can be going and playing chess and having all of these games going and still being present and in conversations with the rest of us because your mind
Right.
requires that constant
Stimulation.
yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't require that at all.
No.
I like peace, harmony, balance. I'm not interested in
Those
confrontation.
relationships and building and working and that emotional
I want
aspect
that
of
all to
things.
come
She wants
together.
all that
Yes.
kind of gooey stuff.
I do. I want that. And partnership is very important to Libra moons, especially. So my interior space, when we're working as a team, I'll say that to you often. I don't feel like I'm on your team right now. And you're like, you're always on my team. Like that to you does
You
it.
just might be on the second team.
I have a good example of this. When we had our first baby, right? And so we were figuring out parenting. And I don't know if you remember this, but it'd be the middle of the night and it'd be time to change Olivia and change a diaper. And I wanted us to do this together because I was like, this is partnership. This is like partnering 101. Like
Yes.
we're experiencing
Let's
this
both
together.
get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and feed the baby.
Whatever it would be, like, let's both do the thing together. And you would be like, that makes no sense to me. There's nothing, there's no efficiency in that. God forbid if there's no efficiency in the thing. And you would just be like, I don't understand. Either you get up with the baby or I get up with the baby, but we both don't need to get up with this baby and tell me what you want me to do. And I will do it. And it wasn't that he didn't want to get up. It's just he didn't understand why we both needed to be up. And so, but I took that. I didn't understand this at the time. Again, I wish would have known that it was just his way of being efficient and to the point and direct. And why would we both do this? I was like, don't we want to have this combined shared experience together? And so I didn't understand that. And I would my feelings would get hurt. And I'd be like,
see, I think my one boss must have been a Libra moon.
Which one?
The one in VP 45 when
I
had my one boss who he was very hands-on and very into people's business, and everybody told me and complained about it, and they said, you'll see, Reggie. And sure enough, when I got there, he was just into everything. And one day I said, hey, listen, boss, either you can do my job or I can do my job, but we both don't need to do it. And for some reason, he didn't like that.
Well, I don't think that made him a Libra moon, just to say.
I think he must have been a Libra moon because he got his feelings hurt.
I don't think so. There's a lot of other signs that get their feelings hurt. It's just Aquarius energy doesn't have a lot of hurt feeling energy that goes with it.
It's business.
It's always business. Everything is business. And for me, everything is personal. So when we learned this about each other, though, it helped give us grace and space. And grace and space for each other, especially when we are in a space of like feeling things, because you do feel things. And when we are a space of needing to come together on something, for me to be able to understand, like I said, that at night when I thought we were finally having our connection time, downtime together, he was on his phone. And it wasn't that he was actually talking to anybody. It was just that he was playing Sudoku and chess and winning all of these games because he needs to win them. And for me, I was thinking that was like our prime, like hangout time together, that partnership. Let's be a team and sit here together and like be into whatever we're watching together. And by giving you the grace and space to play the games on your computer actually allowed you to feel more present with me rather than me telling you, put your phone away. I need you to put your phone away. I need you to put your phone away. I need you to put your phone away.
Very good.
That did not work well, right? And it wasn't until I understood that I understood, oh, okay, this is actually how he can be present here in this time and space with me.
Agreed.
Right? And so like...
And I understood and didn't get my feelings hurt when you wouldn't engage with me. And what I just thought was banter back and forth on a given subject, and you would get all your nose out of joint and mad at me because you thought we're arguing. Why are we arguing about this? We're not arguing. We're just having a discussion.
You always like to say that. We're not arguing. I'm like,
I'm not arguing.
Our tones are getting elevated. Our blood pressure is rising.
Just because we have a little oomph behind it does not make it an argument. But once I understood that her brain, that's not just how she works. See? That's how she works. Now I understand not to realize, okay, let's not keep going with this because this is turning into an argument for her, where it's just a discussion to me.
It's not even like the difference I
ready
think
to-
also is you are so good about letting it go and moving on. Like you
Oh, yeah.
have that discussion, you have that elevated conversation, you get it all out there, and then you're like, and you move on to the next thing. Meanwhile, you've just stirred up all of this stuff in me, and I'm like, and then I can't let it go. And then I am not in balance and I freak out, and then it goes into a whole not very
Those are the
good
things
place.
like I don't even know how we got here and what and not. But then I realized, oh, I do know how we got here. Let's not let that happen again. And it's definitely heightened our ability to communicate in a way that we both can hear each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it just does. It just kind of helps leave space for each other and understanding for each other. And you understand, for me, being a Libra moon, how much beauty and harmony that surrounds the space I exist in is very
Yes.
important to me.
Oh, yes.
The way when we came time to redo the kitchen, or when it came time to do any of the
Well,
things
for me,
we
it
do in
was
the
not
house.
getting my feelings hurt when I would do projects and I would leave little signs that I did that project, i.e., there might be a little crooked here, there might be a little ding there, and you would not appreciate the beauty of me personalizing a project in that way. You wanted it to look like a professional had done it.
So I only hire professionals now. That is how I satisfy my Libra.
And I have allowed my ego to not get hurt by your words and actions in that arena.
Yes.
Because I
yes.
know you
have many areas of expertise. Exacting home projects, that's not your top.
That's not my zone of genius.
It's not your zone of genius. It's something you can very well do.
It's my zone of excellence.
But it's not something you really, really love doing.
Sometimes.
And therefore, anyways, my Libra moon has learned that in order for it to look the way I want it to do, and I had to give myself permission to do that, to surround myself in beauty, because honestly, it sometimes felt a little superfluous, right? Or a little like, why does it matter that every space in my house is pleasing to me? It doesn't mean that it's all high end or crazy expensive, but it makes me, when I walk through my house and I see the way I've curated it and the way I have put things together. And so for my home and my internal space to come together and be in harmony is like just.
And
so
for
good.
me, it was great that I could understand that not only do you like to create that, but once it's created and you feel really, really good about it, then you like to blow that shit up and start all over again and create again to another beautiful space.
That's right. New spaces are constantly being created
which is wonderful, because if it were me,
there's no
this place would
stagnation.
still look like when we first got married 30 years ago, because I was good with that.
There's no stagnation in beauty. Beauty is constant. It's like nature, constantly
Constantly
evolving and
evolving.
changing. And sometimes we need
And
to
I have
update and have new
come
dishes for no
to a very good
reason.
place with the constant evolution.
You have. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've been open
I
to
appreciate you.
this conversation and our moon awareness, our moon signs, and all the other interesting avenues that I have explored. And as you continue to read the book, you'll see there's some other ones. And we have a few more of these sort of live sit downs that will share a little more behind the scenes, a little more in-depth conversations that are exclusive just for anyone who grabbed the book, just for you. So continue to enjoy this journey with us. And once again, we thank you for being here and participating in our story.
All right. Peace out.